Hello everyone, I'm Jorasar and I'm going to be taking you through a summary and battle report from day 1 of the highly anticipated Season 2 of the OGN Overwatch APEX tournament. Now there were 2 matches to start things off. In Group A, we had Team EnVyUs, the defending champions from Season 1, face off against newly promoted MVP Infinity. And in Group B, we had Luxury Watch Blue, quarterfinalists in Season 1, taking on the European invite for Season 2, Misfits, who are now also sporting their all-Swedish lineup travelling to Korea to play in the tournament. Moving on then to map number 1 between EnVyUs and MVP Infinity. The first map was Ilios, and EnVyUs was able to take the first cap on Ruins. Despite multiple kills from EasyBro's Genji and OneFact's Tracer, Envy were able to outlive the assault and reinforce with their respawns due to their utilization of a more tank-heavy composition. Envy lost the point at 95% and lost the next 2 teamfights as well, but they managed to gain an ult advantage and they used that to push the boys home, 1-0 to Envy. Envy then switched to a 2 DPS composition and they quickly bled players at the beginning due to them getting separated and there being a lack of protection around the low hit point characters. Taimou, however, produced some heroics on Tracer, continuously contesting the point with the help of Mickie to prevent a cap. Envy then got scattered picks and took the first cap largely in part to Taimou's Tracer and ended up with 5 ults to just the 1 from MVP. Envy spent 6 ults across 2 team fights to hold the point at 80% before the next fight, but MVP Infinity fought back. They switched EasyBro to McCree and they won back-to-back team fights, easily shutting down Taimou and disabling Reinhardt's shield. Envy responded by switching Taimou to McCree themselves to match, but by this point it was too late. In overtime in the deciding team fight, the composition swap of MVP Infinity proved to be too strong and they got it back to 1-all. On to the final point, MVP took the first capture on Lighthouse. More composition changes were inbound as Taimou was now on Roadhog and OneFact went back to Tracer. 2 lost teamfights later, Taimou himself switched back to Tracer to try and handle OneFact, but our ultimate management for Envy just wasn't nearly as good as the first couple of points, and as a result MVP was able to full hold, and with that they go 1-0 up in map score against the defending champions. The next map was King's Row. MVP Infinity stuck with their double DPS defense and Envy used Taimou on Hanzo, banking on stacking ultimates. But with 2 minutes left and a failed expensive push, Taimou had to swap onto McCree and HarryHook onto Tracer. And that worked wonders because Taimou started pouring damage into the defense with Harry fragging the backlines as they tried to retreat from Taimou's line of sight. This let EnVyUs take point A. And EnVyUs could now transition to their pick formation, so as soon as Taimou landed a kill, Cocco and HarryHook, who was now on Zarya, surged forward and aggressively attacked the front line as the squishier targets pulled back. This is EnVyUs' default payload strategy, and it really defined the rest of the match as MVP was unable to adapt to the ebb and flow of the EnVyUs front line. EnVyUs defense though fell a bit short as Symmetra was unable to get her ultimate in time and MVP's Hanzo was much more effective than Taimou's was earlier. InternetHulk stayed on Symmetra for the streets phase, dropping the shield generator, but then switched on to Lucio. EasyBro then switched to Tracer for the last leg of streets in the final checkpoint. After a defining team fight, EasyBro moved once again onto Roadhog, only to have Taimou nano whole hog him to death. And the Taimou pick triggered EnVyUs, of course, to surge forward, and this pushed MVP all the way back to spawn. EnVyUs now had to hold for 3 minutes on the last point. Ultimate economy was empty on both sides, and Cocco once again served as the wedge, pushing himself between the front and back lines of MVP, separating the supports from the tanks and preventing Ana healing. MVP Infinity used 2 ultimates to engage, but Defense Matrix nullifies their effects. MVP's last push was also cut short. They used Nano Boost and Dragon Blade only for EasyBro to be instantly hooked and killed by Taimou. This was the straw that broke the camel's back, and EnVyUs took map 2 to level the scores 1-1. Temple of Anubis was the next map and it was a quicker affair. Envy's 4 tank solo support 1 DPS composition held MVP's 2-2-2 comp until overtime. EnVyUs swapped to Mei and Reaper with double support for a classic point B defense, but MVP's ultimate economy won out. Despite Taimou getting a pick as a Widow, the sniper doesn't provide any pushing power on the other side and is quickly swapped to Roadhog. With 2 minutes left, MVP had 6 ultimates against NV0, so it looked like the damage was done. MVP holds on to point B, with Sylph on Lucio contesting the point for over 10 seconds, skating on the high ground until the spawns regroup and they're able to push NV out. This gives MVP the win on Temple of Anubis, and they go on to match point, leading EnVyUs 2-1. On to Gibraltar now, and EnVyUs showcased once again their confidence on payload maps. Living off momentum, as soon as the pick occurred, the team pushed into the remaining members, claimed their checkpoints, and aggressively charged down the respawns at the forward point, forcing MVP to spawn again further back. The payload pushed freely and was only meters away before MVP was able to regroup. On the flip side, EnVy identified that MVP's D.Va was specifically assigned to HarryHook. They allowed the D.Va to dive in on him and isolate and collapse time and time again, providing a guaranteed 5v6 for the duration of the last push. InternetHulk started the second half of defense on Winston, anticipating EasyBro's Genji, and that created a 4-tank defense with a double dive from D.Va and Winston. It only took 2 team fights for MVP Infinity to swap off both Genji and Tracer. For the last defensive fight, with 40 seconds left, EnVyUs had 6 ultimates to MVP's 0. This allowed EnVy to full hold, and as a result, we're at 2-2, forcing a map 5. On to the deciding map on Hollywood. HarryHook on the high ground poured damage into MVP, but EasyBro identified the problem and focused him down as Genji, allowing Infinity to claim point A. EasyBro continued to rain terror and isolate members of EnVyUs during the Streets phase. However, EnVyUs were able to hold halfway through Westworld phase, and as a result, were able to force MVP into a very difficult second half. EnVyUs attempted a close quarter aggression formation, but MVP reacted very well. As a result, EnVy needed to put Taimou on Winston, but doesn't opt for the full dive comp. Instead, HarryHook is on Soldier, and they use the Winston bubble to create space in the backline, attacking the supports. This split up MVP, and with Harry on the low ground with the rest of EnVyUs, they surge forward to attack the exposed flanks. This proved to be a strategy that worked out well and allowed EnVyUs, with the help of Mickie and an excellent D.Va bomb, to go ahead and claim Hollywood and win their first match of the Overwatch APEX Season 2 by a scoreline of 3-2. MVP Infinity will have proven that they're ready for their slot in the tournament, and they're going to walk away feeling confident about the rest of their matches. EnVyUs, on the other hand, will be relieved that they were able to come through there with a win and look to build on that strength as defending champions. On to our second match now, with LW Blue taking on Misfits. The Ghost of Meta Past appeared as the Pharmacy combo, as Pharah Mercy reaped a lot of kills and claimed the first capture. LW Blue swapped to double hit scan DPS to lock down the Pharmacy combo and try and make Misfits force a traditional composition. Flower also swapped his focus to TviQ on Genji. Misfits managed to win the first point though, as it wasn't quite fast enough for LW Blue to react. On the second point, however, Misfits went with the Pharmacy comp again, but also added in a Widowmaker. The initial team fight was won by LW Blue, and Misfits fought back with a Pulse Bomb and Barrage to claim the point, but they lost it quickly due to their lack of brawling heroes. Over Ruins, the point changed control 6 times, and in the end, LW Blue were able to squeeze out the victory, allowing them to get to 1-1. On the deciding point, LW Blue once again took the point first. Meko on D.Va was constantly harassing Zebbosai on Pharah, and that fully counted his effectiveness. It also forced Nevix to babysit Pharah non-stop as Mercy, which meant that Mercy was only healing without boosting damage for much of the point. This was enough to earn LW Blue the victory on this point, and therefore they win Ilios. The map was defined by unorthodox compositions, scattered engagement, and isolated fights, but there were little to no ultimate combinations. The next map was Hollywood, where on attack, Misfits spent the first 3.5 minutes poking and setting up the Graviton Dragon Strike combo, but could only get 1 kill from it in the end. Luxury Watch Blue overextended on defense though, trying to prevent overtime, and that allowed Misfits to punish and get point A. Misfits then rolled that momentum to easily take the second checkpoint, but was just short of being able to complete the map. On the flip side, Saebyeolbe had a fantastic time hard carrying his team and pushing Misfits all the way back to their spawn and staggering kills in the process, but while he was doing this, the payload wasn't pushing effectively, and Misfits were able to regroup halfway through Westworld. And despite a rally by LW Blue at the end, Misfits were able to hold and thus win Hollywood. The matchup so far seems to have been largely decided by individual performances on both teams' new rosters. Our third map was Volskaya Industries, where a quick point A capture left Misfits with 6 minutes to defend, and LW Blue captured point B with 5 minutes remaining. Misfits again chose an unorthodox composition, attacking with Widowmaker, Pharah, Mercy and Genji. They snuck around the left side as a team, but their lack of point presence bit them due to composition as LW Blue managed to stabilize on the point. LW Blue adjusted well to Misfits' high DPS composition and won several teamfights back-to-back to give them Volskaya Industries and a 2-1 map lead. We then went to Watchpoint Gibraltar, where LW Blue walked through the Misfits' defense with little resistance to take the first checkpoint. The game became a bit slower after that though, and the final checkpoint started with only 2 minutes left to push and neither team having ultimates. However, LW Blue isolated and eliminated individual players to make Misfits seem scattered and used their focus-fired aggression to complete the map. Misfits then stuck with a Widowmaker based composition on defense, and that included a Tracer, Genji, Winston and Zenyatta, and they were shown the penalty for playing a pick heavy composition that unfortunately didn't get the picks they were looking for. As a result, LW Blue full held Misfits to win the match 3-1. This match showed that Misfits weren't afraid to play off-meta compositions and heroes, but maybe in some circumstances, a more standard composition could have yielded them better results. We also saw that LW Blue leaned heavily on Flower to perform, and the team seems like a collection of individual strong players and less like a coherent team yet. However, if this is just the start, they could be incredible later on in the tournament. So that wraps things up for both matches on day 1 of Season 2 of the OGN Overwatch APEX tournament. To watch the next video, click that link there, and to subscribe to the channel, click this link here. Thanks very much in the meantime for your likes and your comments on the video, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.